Welcome back. It's about for us to go into parenting full tilt, and today we have Jayne Ogoye, our parenting expert for the day. She is the founder of Fab Mom NG. Yeah. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Titi. Good morning. Looking great.
Oh, you too. You too. Now the topic for today is a really interesting one.
Yeah.
A lot of parents probably need to have this discussion.
Yes.
Parenting styles, and how to balance it all. So what is the first thing parents need to know about, this particular topic?
So it should start from when you are cutting, ideally. I mean, before you even sign the dotted lines. So these are conversations. No, but you say it in a very subtle manner. So you begin with things like the number of children, you would love to have, what type of school, and perhaps your discipline, your parenting or discipline style. Okay. But somehow these things can be deduced from you, the wife, know your husband's temperament, so you can sort of almost guess what his parenting style will be like. But aside from that, even when you get married, it should be an ongoing discussion, because I realize that once you have more than one child, you almost can't use the same parenting style for all of them. So you sort of adjust to fit the child. So have the discussions. Who is the disciplinarian in the home? Most times it's daddy.
Okay.
Very rare occasions. It depends on mommy's personalities. In my home, it's my husband.
Okay.
I'm a bit in between. I know when to be firm. I know when to be a bit, soft. I also know when to plead on their behalf when daddy wants to. You guys, So have those conversations. Your parenting style. You should be able to deduce who is authoritative one, who is sort of laid back, who is the helicopter parent. So know all those things and sort of come to a middle ground.
Okay, so I've spoken to quite a few people on issues like this before, and they've said developing a new style completely different from what they were taught when they were growing up was important to them.
Yes.
So you've just said some are already authoritative, some are already mild in what they do. Yeah. So what about that development of your own unique style?
I always say that for me, I think parenting is the true definition of parenting for me is parenting your children the way you wished your own parents had raised you. Okay. Times have changed. Children of these days are smarter. I dare say they are smarter. The world has changed. A child of 2-3-year-old are very assertive compared to when we were growing up. We're sort of quiet, where you want to be a bit outspoken, you come across as being rude. But while we're trying to allow our children, express themselves, we should be able to know where to draw the line, because there's a thin line between being expressive, assertive, and being rude. Okay. So think about the way you would have loved your mom, your dad to raise you. Most people grew up in homes where daddy was just the breadwinner, Daddy only provides money and mommy is a trainer. Okay. Mommy raises children. So if this was a flaw when we're growing up, you want to involve your husband as much as possible. As a mom, obviously, you can't afford to labor when it comes to parenting, because very few dads, I know a lot are doing their best right now, very few dads are really big on instilling values, morals. It should be a collaborative effort.
All right, so I'm a little concerned about what you said. Yeah. You said, parenting is basically about, not having your kids experience what you experienced, right? The bad sides. But then I've heard that leads to spoiling the kids, because a lot of kids were deprived of some really nice things when they were, under the guise of training them to be strong. They weren't allowed to eat certain things.
Chicken.
Daddy must eat his own first.
Yes.
All those kind of things. But then you have a lot of sport kids out there now.
Yes. You don't want to raise an entitled child. So your child, that's why you must instill the values that are dear to you. Okay. You must establish it. What is it that is dear to you? What do you hold? What are you big on? Are you big on discipline? Are you big on respect? Are you big on hard work? So that's why I always say, even if you have 10,000 nannies, you have 10 nannies, your child should be able to do some basic things.
So I have to actually point out something though. When it comes to kids being who you were, a lot of parents are often in denial that this is who they are. So they often feel like I'm the nice parent, whereas they're actually the more authoritarian parent than the other. I was actually trying to compare of course, use myself as an example. For instance, giving a child a punishment and going through with it is different from just making threats. But sometimes the parent that threatens the most is seen to be the hard person. So I know we've been talking a bit more about discipline.
Oh, yes.
But what about actual education of the kids?
Oh, okay. So education, school-wise, is it who supervises the homework?
Exactly.
So that one is a very tricky one. But I know that a lot of that, we live in very busy times. Mommy is out, dad is out. So parents must find a way to balance it so that the child is not just used to mommy helping our homework.
Okay.
You know, because the child grows up to think that it is the job of a mom. You know, so once in a while, dad should also, you know, step in and take on that role. Even if you are busy from Monday to Friday, at least the weekends, even before you go play, hang out with the guys,
Yeah.
you know, just have those conversations with your children. Sometimes it may not even be as formal or as rigid as sit down and let's do your maths. You could also go out with the kids on a date. Even as you're going to buy ice cream for them, you're talking about their studies. So what's your favorite subject?
Okay.
What subjects are you having issues with? Who is your best friend? What will you do if this? You know, so
Yeah.
such way, by doing this, you begin to have an idea of your child's personality. And if there is a wrong thing going on, you are able to quickly deduce it and nip it in the bud.
All right, so I know there's probably one or two parents taking note of some things right now. But I want to go back to this issue of having an agreement.
Oh, yes.
You know, so what sort of agreement should parents have when it comes to parenting as a whole?
Okay, so you should have an agreement on your parenting style. Obviously, your the number of children.
Okay.
You know, sometimes these things take us unaware, but we need to remind ourselves. So finances, what sort of school will our children attend?
Okay.
Will they go to a private school? Will they go to a public school? What are your thoughts on childcare, nannies? Will we have a nanny? Will we have a live-in? Will we have a live-out nanny? What are your thoughts on discipline? Have I mentioned that?
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on religion? Especially when you have different faiths. So who will the child, what religion will the child practice? Is it going to be both? What language will the children speak? That is if you are in an intertribal marriage like I am. So you need to have those conversations over and over again, because sometimes we plan this way, but life happens. So once in a while, we need to take a big step back and say, okay, this one is not working. This our child seems a little bit difficult or different. So I think the way we are raising child A, we should be tougher on child B, or should be a bit softer on child B.
You know, everything you've said, I'm hoping that everyone listening right now has taken note of everything, because very, very key, having that agreement.
Yes.
Having that agreement is very, very important. I've noted that grandparents coming in-laws.
So would they
I'm
stay?
saying grandparents because those are the only ones I allow.
Okay.
Because I don't like the idea of, you know, the sister-in-laws and brother-in-laws actually, you know, coming
Once
that
in a while
far.
they can come.
Once
But you
in a
need to have an agreement. Would they stay? How long would they stay? Who
No,
would
I
they?
mean contributing.
Okay,
I mean
contributing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's a bit tricky. So you have to, you know, our African values, Nigerian values, we are big on respect. You know, so it's so that you don't cause friction. Oh, are you trying to say I raised your husband? Are you trying to say I don't know how to raise my children?
Exactly.
So you have to be very. This is where diplomacy comes in, and an agreement.
Especially with regard to spanking these children.
Discipline. You know, grandmoms, grandparents, they love to pamper.
Are you sure about that? Are you sure? Are you sure
They
they're not the
pamper.
ones to quickly spank
Not really.
the
Even
children?
if they spank, they'll, you know, draw
you
them
sure?
back and give them everything. You know.
Wow. Physically spanking children, though, are you for or against?
So I'm in between.
Okay.
You know, because sometimes I realize the reason why a lot of moms, a lot of us spank our children is because we are tense, we are frustrated. You, this child, you are so stubborn. You know, so that even comes, that's another angle. Keep giving your kids tags and labels. You know, when you keep telling a child the child is stubborn, the child actually becomes stubborn and sees it as, you know, what he or she is. So we should also be careful, you know, about trying to discipline the child or comparing siblings. Why are you not as calm as your sister? Why don't you know maths? You know, why are you so playful? You are so destructive. You know, so while we are spanking, because we need to discipline them, we are also drawing them closely. Have to talk to them. I realize that they love it when you talk to them.
Okay, all right, fantastic. Okay, so those conversations with your kids might seem like, you know, very weird to you at first, but trust me, they get better and better. I have conversations with my kids all the time, and trust me, I think I'm learning from them more than they learning from me.
They teach us a lot.
They do. And, you know, at this point, I think we have to ask people to reach out to us on social media.
Yeah.
Please, just make sure you visit our handle at TVC Connect. Make sure you use our hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Titi.
Jayne,
Thank
for
you.
coming to visit us again. Please come back.
I will. You invite me.
Let's take the break. There's still so much more on Wake Up Nigeria.